Hey guys, how's it going? It's Andrea again. So in today's video, as you can see by the title, I'm going to be talking about why I'm quitting classical music. So before I get into it and my friends start going crazy on me, no, I'm not quitting music. I'm just quitting the classical aspect of music. I'm still going to be performing contemporary styles of music, and I'm still going to be writing my own music as well. I'm just going to be giving up the classical aspect of music, as in Chopin, Bach, etc. So the reason I really felt compelled to put this video out there is because this isn't a decision that was very easy for me at all. As a matter of fact, it was actually a very emotionally taxing decision for me to make, and it wasn't something I made overnight. It took me about 2 years to be able to have the courage to make this decision. And during this time that I was trying to decide if I wanted to give up classical music and just focus on contemporary music or continue to do both, I was searching for this type of video on YouTube to see if anybody else was in a similar situation as me and could relate to this situation, and if there was anybody else out there who needed to make a heavy decision like this. What I found was that I was only able to find one other woman out there who made a video like this. So thank you very much to the other woman who made a video like this. When I'm trying to make a decision that I find very difficult, I find a lot of comfort in knowing that someone else has been through the same exact thing. And even though in my heart I knew this was a decision I wanted to make, I sort of feel like I would have been able to give myself permission to make this decision faster had I seen other people out there making the same decision. I think it would have given me comfort in knowing that I wasn't crazy for feeling this way, that other people have also felt this way and had to come to a similar decision. So with that being said, I felt like it was very important for me to put this information out there in the universe for anybody else who is seeking the same thing that I was seeking when I was trying to make this decision whether or not to quit classical music. So, me quitting classical music is probably going to come as a very big shocker, especially to my friends who I went to music school with, and to people who have been following my Instagram and seeing my progress on my classical pieces and everything like that. So before I get into the whys of why I'm quitting classical music, I feel like I should provide a backstory about how I even got into classical music to begin with, and then it'll sort of make a lot of sense. The backstory will kind of explain itself. So the story is kind of long, so I'm going to try to make it as concise as possible and sort of fast forward through some details, but I do have to date back to high school because that's when this all started, was when I graduated high school. So when I was 18 years old and I graduated high school just like my other peers, the big question at that time, obviously for everybody, is okay, what next? It's time to get out there in the real world and figure out what it is that you want to do with your life. At this time in my life at age 18, I was painfully shy, painfully socially awkward, and I really didn't have a lot of confidence, so I didn't really have it in me to go for what I really wanted to do in my heart. I sort of just went by the guidance of my parents and by society for what it is that I should be doing next with my life. Obviously at this time, society tells you to go to college, so I knew I wanted to do that. When I really think about it, music was actually always the thing that I loved the most and was always the thing that I should have been doing from the beginning. But like I said, at age 18, I just didn't really have the confidence to go for what I wanted. So I asked my parents, I said, okay, I know I have to go to college, but I have no idea what I should be majoring in. What should I be majoring in? And when I was a teenager, I showed a talent for drawing, and I wasn't amazing at it or anything, but I displayed enough natural talent at drawing that I think if I really studied it and was trained by a professional and studied it for years, I do think I could have developed a really good skill in drawing. The weird thing is I actually didn't necessarily like drawing, I just knew I was good at it. So my parents told me, they're like, hey, you know, you did really well in art classes in high school. Why don't you try out being an art major? Take a few classes and see how it goes. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna try that out. One of the beginning art classes I had to take was drawing an egg for 4 hours straight. And I was like, fuck this shit. If this is the kind of shit you have to do to be an artist, then there is no way in hell I am going to be an artist. As a matter of fact, even to this day, I sometimes come up with these good ideas and I'll go out and buy a canvas and I'll feel really inspired to draw something. And then literally within 5 to 10 minutes of drawing, I'm like, fuck this, I don't have the patience for this. But yeah, I don't know, drawing just isn't for me. I don't really have the patience to sit there and draw the way I do with music. With music, I feel like I can sit down for hours and do it. I don't know what it is. I'm just a very physical person. I feel like when you're drawing, you kind of have to be stuck in one position. Yes, you're moving your arm, but the rest of you is kind of like stuck in one position. And I feel like with music, I can kind of move and sway with the music. And I don't know, it just feels like a more physically active thing, and I enjoy it a lot more, and I have the patience to do it. But anyways, so obviously the art thing wasn't gonna work out for me. So I was like, okay, what do I do next? I really thought about it, and I was like, literally the only thing I like to do is music. At this time, I was not professionally trained at all in how to read music, music theory, anything like that. I simply just loved music. I listened to it all the time. It was like my best friend. I listened to my Discman. Yes, that goes to show how old I am becoming, is the fact that I actually had a Discman when I was in high school. I just listened to my Discman and literally spent hours a day listening to music. I didn't watch TV. I didn't do any of my homework or anything like that. Music was everything for me. I collected different CDs and enjoyed looking through the CD art and the lyrics, and I would memorize all the lyrics. And that was really my only skill, was listening to music. And I did have a little keyboard that I was given to as a child. And with this keyboard, I would just play back some of the things I heard by ear and sing along with it. And then sometimes I would kind of like, use the music I learned by ear to be inspired to write my own little songs as well. But it's weird, like this is something I did kind of privately. My own parents didn't really know that I was doing this. They kind of knew. They didn't really know how much I truly loved music. They thought that I truly loved art, but really I truly loved music from the beginning. In the past, I never in my wildest dreams thought that I could actually pursue music as a career. I just thought it was something that I loved to do. But then when the art thing didn't work out, I was like, music is really the only thing I actually like. Let me try taking a music class, in college and see how I do and see if I thrive with it. So I took a basic music course. It was a very basic keyboard course, and pretty much everybody in the class was not a music major, and at that time neither was I. They were just people like me trying to figure out what they wanted to do with their life, and they tried out the music course to see if it was something that would work for them as well, or they could just use it as an elective. So in that class, I was picking up on things in a heartbeat, and I was just kind of like flying by the material that I was supposed to do for homework, and everybody was really struggling. So that was my first indication that, okay, maybe I really should pursue music, because this seems really easy and natural for me. So then I decided, I'm just gonna do it. I'm just gonna change my major to music at this point. And mind you, I forgot to say in the beginning of the story that at this point, it wasn't a major, it was an associate's degree. I started out at a community college, but whatever credits that I took at the community college, I was planning to transfer to a 4-year college and then major in that. So when I say major, it started out as an associate's, but with intentions of becoming a major down the road. But anyways, I didn't know that being a music major was more of a process and you had to audition and everything like that. So I talked to the main counselors who help you sign up for classes, and they were like, you need to go to the music department and talk to the head of the music department and tell them that you're interested in studying music and how do you become a music major. So I was really hopeful and excited that I was going to pursue a career in something that I really love to do, and I was feeling really good and hopeful about it. So I went to the music department and I got in touch with the coordinator of the music department at the community college, and I was like, hey, I'm interested in signing up for music classes and being a music major. How do I do that? And he sort of like condescendingly looked down at me, and he was literally eyeing me up, like eyeing up what I was wearing and everything like that. Mind you, at the time I was 18 years old, so I dressed a lot differently then. I dressed like an 18-year-old kid. I was wearing bright red Converse. I was wearing a Operation Ivy t-shirt, which is like a punk rock band. And I was wearing like these baggy jeans. I was kind of a punk rock kid, and even at age 18, I was still dressing that way. But anyways, he looked me up and down and he was like, do you have any classical music experience? And I was like, well, no. And he was like, ugh. He just kind of rolled his eyes at me and he goes, all you kids come here thinking you're going to be the next Led Zeppelin. If you want to study music, you're going to have to study classical music. And I was just like, okay. And, again, at age 18, I didn't really have confidence. I was very shy. If that sort of thing happened to me now, I would definitely stick up for myself and be like, dude, I want to apply for music. What the hell does studying classical have to do with it? In order for me to have the credentials to start, why can't I learn classical music? You know what I mean? But anyways, it just goes to show, like, if you're the type of person who's going to be in charge of kids and your job is to guide kids, please put yourself out there as an inspiring individual and someone who's going to uplift people. Because had this guy not looked at me so condescendingly, like I was beneath him for not having any knowledge of classical music, in hindsight, when I think about it, if I was in his shoes, I would have been like, yeah, like, you're interested in music? That's amazing. I would love to, help guide you into becoming a full-time musician. That's the type of person I am. Like, when one of my friends wants to do something with their lives and they're feeling, like they need help or guidance and they're not really sure how to go about it. I'm all about it and I want to help them achieve, whatever their goals are. But not everybody's like that. And this guy, I was 18. Had he inspired me more to go for what I wanted to do at that age, it would have saved me a lot of time and money on all the other majors that I had been through, which we're going to get to in a second. But anyways, that aside, that guy was a jerk. So I didn't have the confidence to really stick up for myself. So I just kind of said, okay, and just like walked away. And I didn't even tell my parents about it. Cause like I said, I was so shy that I would barely even tell my own parents things. So this part of the story I'm going to kind of fast forward through because I want to get to the reasons why I'm quitting classical music now. But as you can see, music was always the thing I wanted to do, but I didn't do it from the beginning for these reasons. So at this point, I tried out a couple different majors at the community college level. I tried out business major. I didn't feel happy or comfortable with that. So I finally just decided, you know what? I'm going to be a liberal arts major. That way it gives me time to really think about what I want to do. And when I transfer to a 4-year college, you're going to have to take all these electives anyway. So it's not like the liberal arts major is going to go to waste. I would have taken all these English and science and mathematics class that's going to transfer over. So it's not necessarily a wasteful thing. For those of you who don't know what a liberal arts degree is, it's basically a degree in like nothing. It's like a well-rounded degree where you take a little bit of everything. But like I said, I just thought that would help take care of credits at the 4-year level and give me time to decide what it is that I really wanted to do. So after going through the liberal arts degree and completing it at the community college, the only thing besides music that I liked and that I was good at was foreign language. And actually, it kind of makes sense because as a musician, my biggest gift, I believe, is my ear. I have a very good ear. I can't sight read for shit. I'm a really bad sight reader. If you look at some of my videos, you'll notice that I do all my piano performances by memory because I could really barely read what's on the page. Like I have to write the notes in and then memorize them. So yeah, it got me thinking, I've always had a really good ear, and that's probably the reason why I clung to foreign language as my second best skill besides music. So I graduated community college with the liberal arts degree, but when I went to my 4-year college, I transferred my credits and I declared my major as a Spanish major. I actually followed through with the Spanish major and I actually really enjoyed it, to be honest. I really liked being a Spanish major. I loved learning, the Spanish language. I got a chance to travel by myself to Uruguay and utilize my language, and I really loved it, to be honest. But about my 3rd year into the Spanish major, I was about, I want to say 23, 24. Don't quote me on that because I'm really bad at those like little details, but it was somewhere around that age. I was like 23 or 24 years old. Something just clicked in me around that time, and I decided I wanted to improve my life in all aspects. And I think really that was like the start of me pushing myself towards the career that I really wanted to do. It was that spark that I had at that age that even got me to the place where I am today, and even making this YouTube channel, for example. But I don't know, something happened to me at that age, and I couldn't tell you why. I would really have to dig deep into the psychology of why I suddenly switched and became this way. But suddenly I really just wanted to improve my life and work the hardest that I ever worked in my life and get in the best shape I ever have in my life, put myself out there. I started approaching guys that like I thought were way out of my league in the past, and like, guys that I thought were like the hot guy that I never had a chance with. Suddenly I had like the courage to start like going for it, and just like that kind of thing. Just like something snapped in me where I was just like, I'm gonna change my life, As I was a Spanish major during my 4-year college experience, I did stumble across the music building, and I would find myself really gravitating towards the music building. I would often go into the practice rooms and just like practice my stuff, and I would find myself more interested doing this than even practicing Spanish. So being in this frame of mind where I was suddenly ready to really start turning my life around, I said, fuck it, why don't I just apply for a music minor? You know what I mean? It wouldn't hurt and wouldn't really hold me back that much. If anything, it might hold me back like 1 year from graduating. It'll definitely be really worth it if anywhere down the line I decide to really pursue music. You know what I mean? So I said, screw it, I'm just gonna go for it. So I did. This college also required that you study classical music, and I had 0 classical experience under my belt whatsoever. At this time, I didn't listen to classical music. I wasn't interested in classical music. I was just interested in contemporary music. And funny enough, at the time, I was like really into punk rock, which is like a world of difference from classical music. So what I did was I really quickly, in a rush, I hired a classical trained piano teacher, and I told him, hey, I'm applying for this audition to be a piano minor. And he was like, what do you have to play? And I was like, I have to play some classical music like Bach or, you know, Mozart or something like that. And he was like, have you ever played any classical music? And I was like, no, I can't even read music. And he was just like, you really should consider like maybe applying for this major in like 3 or 4 years, like after some serious study. And I was like, no, I'm gonna apply for it this semester. Can you just like show me what to do? And he thought I was freaking crazy, but you know, I was paying him and he was getting paid to do it. He worked at a studio, so you know, he didn't really have the option to turn me down. The people who ran the studio needed the money, so he was just like, okay, I'm gonna do it. And so he taught me Prelude in C by Bach. If those of you aren't familiar with the melody, something like that. And like I said, I couldn't read music, so I basically had this guy show me how to read some notes, and I hand wrote all the notes out, and I played it and I memorized it. I played it very, very badly, but I could play it either way. The second piece he taught me was some Mozart lullaby. To be honest, at this point, I can't even remember how the melody goes, but it was a very short, like 12 measure piece with like a repeat or whatever. So again, I couldn't read the music. I just learned this piece by ear and applied for my audition. I did not think I was going to get in, but by the grace of God, I got in with a probation. I think the thing is with this school is like, they weren't really known for having the best music program. So I think they really needed the money. So I really, you know, I got lucky to have been able to take advantage of that situation, because I think they just really needed students, and they're like, whatever, we'll just take this girl on probation. And if those of you don't know, music school probation is basically where they let you in. They only give you 1 semester to prove to them that you're worth their time, basically, and that you're able to show improvement. And if you don't show improvement within that semester, they will essentially kick you out and say that you are not good enough for their school. I got in on a probation. At first, my progress was pretty slow on the piano, I have to be honest, but this is how the graph was of my progress. At first, I kind of wasn't really getting anywhere. At some point, I was almost even getting worse because I was taking on music that was harder than my physical capabilities. But then something happened and I started like skyrocketing. Like something just clicked about my 3rd year of studying. And for those of you who are wondering, 3rd year, I thought you said you were gonna just do the minor and get out in 1 year. What happened was I ended up falling in love with music so much, I decided I was going to finish my Spanish degree and then return back immediately and then pursue a music degree as well, because I realized that this is the thing that I wanted to do. This is the thing that I wanted to do the entire time, and I was really pissed off that I had wasted all this time on money in college trying to figure out what to do, and it took me this long till I was like 24 years old to figure out that I wanted to be a musician. And by the way, I don't even think college is worth it anymore, especially in 2020 with everything going on, but that's a total different video for a different time, where I probably will make a video talking about why I don't think you should go to college at all anymore unless you're planning to be a doctor. Like there's obvious things like you're not going to learn how to be a brain surgeon from YouTube. But other than that, if you want to be a musician or a business owner or whatever, those types of things, I do not think you need to go to college anymore. And that's another video for a different time. I don't want to get into that. So anyways, I have to be honest, I'm really proud with my progress that I made as a classical musician, starting so late in life, you know, in my mid-20s with no ability to read music whatsoever. And then to be able to get to the level that I got to, I'm actually very proud of that. And I'm very proud of myself to be able to pursue that. And for those of you who are interested in seeing some of my classical repertoire, you can scroll down through my videos and there's going to be some videos that say senior recital. So that was my progress I made. I really wish I had a video of me playing the Bach's Prelude in C, you know, when I started at age 23. It was horrible. It was really, really bad. I actually ended up developing tendonitis in my wrist, and I wasn't able to play piano for about a whole 1.5 years because of how bad my technique was going into this, you know, having no experience really. But I was able to overcome that, and like I said, you can scroll down and see the videos of the progress I made, basically from age 24, taking a 1.5 years off because of my injury, to about age 29. I really progressed with classical music, and I really fell in love with classical music on the way too. I never thought I could go from liking Operation Ivy and the Attics to liking Bach and Chopin. I never thought that was a possibility, but really, I actually fell very deeply in love with classical music in the process. So fast forward to now, in present day, if I went through all that trouble to graduate with a music degree, and I put all that effort into proving my technique as a classical musician, then why the hell would I just want to stop now? Well, that's what this video is about. Because I have both a love for contemporary styles of music, And this day and age, I don't like punk rock as much as when I was a teenager. I like more R&B and soul and jazz type of things. I'm really influenced by Amy Winehouse, Fiona Apple, a lot of new like neo soul type artists where there's like classic jazz like and blues like melodies as of Amy Winehouse, but paired with contemporary beats and electronic music. I really love that type of music right now. But I also really like classical music, and I've discovered over the past few years that my biggest goal that I want to do with my life while I'm here on this earth for whatever amount of years that I'm supposed to be here for, I want to be a creator. I want to create music. I've mentioned in the past that I write comedy. I still want to do that. I took some composition courses in my final semesters of being a music student, and I fell in love with the process of composition. I started learning how to use more music technology and writing my own songs and everything like that. And I realized that this is something I really, really want to do. I want to write music. I want to create music. I want to create art, not eggs and that type of art. I mean like music art, you know. I just want to live my life as a music artist and a writer, comedy writer, and that type of thing. And the thing with classical music is that in order to be a good classical musician, you have to devote hours and hours and hours a week to mastering the skill. It is a very physically demanding skill. If you're a classical musician and you're very serious about it and you're devoted to it, you're basically an athlete. Period. You're an athlete. What I personally found was there was no way for me to keep up with playing classical music at that athletic ability and playing contemporary music. What I found was when I started getting really good at one, the other one would fail, and then it would go the other way. I would start getting really good at one and the other one would fail. And it was kind of just like this teeter-tottering of trying to balance out classical with contemporary. And I've kind of known this for the past like 2 years, but the thought of giving one up was just devastating to me. I mean, you know, there was many occasions where I just would bawl crying, like at the idea of giving up classical or contemporary. I just loved them both so much. But in my heart, I knew that there was just no way that I was going to be able to keep up with both of them. Obviously, I had to continue with classical music in order to complete my degree, but then after that I really had to make a decision. What am I going to do? Am I going to be a classical musician or am I going to be a contemporary musician? I sort of avoided answering my own question, even though intuitively I actually always knew that the answer was contemporary music. But the idea of giving up something that I put all this work into for the past couple years and really actually thrived at, you know, I'm not saying I'm this amazing classical musician as it is. There's still a lot of work that I would have to go to build upon where I am today. But I mean, I thrived in the sense that I started from nothing and I really got pretty far with it. And if I were to continue from this point building upon that, I believe I could still get even farther and farther and, you know, get really good at classical music. But I had to make this decision. And lately I've actually been praying a lot, you know. When I was younger, around this time, you know, that I had this spark to go for what I wanted to go for in life, like I was saying before, at this time I was praying pretty much every day, and I kind of found that praying is such an honest way to have a conversation with yourself and whatever power that you believe is assisting you in this life. And that by praying, you really get to know yourself. You get to learn what it is that you want on a very deep spiritual level. It's a way to remove the ego and have a conversation about what's really in your heart. Like, for example, in everyday life, you might be like, oh, fuck this bitch. I can't stand this bitch. But when you go to pray, you kind of unveil that. You might say something like, God, I feel so much anger for this person and I want to find a way to forgive them. You know, it's just like, I feel like when you pray, you really truly find out what it is that's really in your heart and you get closer to that. So anyways, lately I've been praying a lot again. You know, I went through a period where I stopped praying, and these past couple months, almost every day, like literally every day, I've been praying, God, please help me see the clear vision of what I'm supposed to do with this life. I really can't make a decision whether it is I want to pursue classical or contemporary, and I'm so confused and I genuinely don't know what to do. And I prayed this way every day for a couple months, and it was very strange. About 2 weeks ago, I believe my prayers were answered, because I've been thinking about this for a year and kind of stuffing my feelings in the closet about it because I didn't really want to approach coming up with a solution to this problem. But all of a sudden, I was just kind of going about my business and doing my dishes in my house, and I just broke down, like crying. I just like pretty much almost collapsed to the ground, like on my hands and knees, and the answer was just there. I was like, I have to give up classical music. And this was not an easy decision. I think if this was about 2 weeks ago, I don't even think I'd be able to make this video with a straight face. I would probably cry during the video. But yeah, I don't know, I just broke down crying, and the answer was just there, and it was very clear that that was the right thing for me to do. And since then, it's actually just been this gigantic weight off my shoulders to be able to make the decision to do this, because trying to figure out what to do had been weighing so heavily on me for about 2 years, like I said. So that was very heavy baggage to carry around. So even though I was so devastated in the moment to just let go of something that I had put so much work and effort to, and I had really started to show some amazing progress at, that was a really difficult decision. But now I can't even tell you the relief I feel from actually making that decision. So yeah, that really sums up the story of why I'm quitting classical music. I have nothing against classical music. I'm not going to quit listening to it. I'm still going to be listening to it and drawing inspiration that way. But I am no longer going to be trying to keep up with putting in all these long hours of, being this athletic classical performer with writing my own music and studying contemporary styles. It's just not possible for me to keep up with both of them anymore. And I made the decision to pursue contemporary music because one, that's really where my heart is, and where my heart lies before classical music is contemporary styles of music. And two, it's going to free up so much time for me to write my own music and to create my own music and to create my own comedy and whatever else it is that I want to create in this life. So anyways, that completely sums up my video for today. To reiterate what I said in the beginning of this video, I really wanted to put this out there for anybody else who is struggling with making this very heavy decision as well. Like I said before, I was sort of seeking comfort and almost seeking permission, from somebody else. I felt like if I were able to find somebody else who's making this decision, I wouldn't feel as crazy or stupid for making the decision for myself. Either way, the decision has to come internally, but it definitely doesn't hurt to know that somebody else has been through the same thing as you and that you can relate. You don't feel so alone in making such a difficult decision. So guys, if you liked this video today, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. And if you guys are interested in hearing some music, stick around for next Thursday and I'll be putting out a new music video. Thank you so much, guys. I'll see you soon.